This thing here is the strangest 3-in-1 unit I've ever seen. Now we'll get to that in a minute, but first let's look at these controls. All unlabeled. This chassis is loose. This one seems to sort of be held in, which is odd. It seems to be well made. I think it's a completely custom thing because there's no names or no name brand or anything on it. Most interesting thing I think is that you've got the War Department logo there with the broad arrow. So at the very least this ammeter is some sort of military surplus. Potentially these units are. I doubt this whole unit is, because it's red for one thing. I don't think the military normally does red leatherette. Although that does mean that this, at least to some extent, adds to my unintentional military stuff collection, which just seems to grow every so often. You've got this ammo box or ammo crate. I've got this green box, which probably is some sort of military surplus at some point. And I've got a few other things, so yeah, weird. Completely unintentional. I do not seek out military stuff, but I just end up getting some of it. Anyway, that's enough rambling about this thing. Let's open up the covers. It's got a lot of latches, because, well, this thing weighs a lot. And then you've got 2 handles too, which is, yeah, this thing weighs so much it needs 2. Which, I suppose you could say, oh, 2 handles is twice the portability, but, I think when it needs 2 handles to lift, I think that's really stretching the definition of portability. Anyway, let's get this cover off. And now you can see the reason we're here today. It's another BSR GU4 turntable that could do with the service. Now you can see on top of it is a rather odd looking device. This is reel-to-reel. Well, it's an adapter thing that fits onto a turntable to give you a reel-to-reel. And these are, I think, the most common in the early 50s when reel-to-reels were just sort of emerging as a thing. And, well, they were very expensive. So these sorts of attachments appeared because, well, one of the most expensive parts is a motor. And this doesn't need a motor because it just fits onto your turntable, which provides the turning. You can see this uses a giant rubber capstan. And you've got this thing, a little tensioner here, some tape heads, and you've got your take-up and your other spool thingy, what's it? Rather weird thing. And it just lifts up if you want to use the turntable. Doesn't latch very well. Well, doesn't. I think it's probably not going to tip over, but it feels like it is. And I don't like that. It feels like it's going to go a bit like this and crunch your record. Now, again, as I said, the reason these things exist is because motors are expensive, so it avoids you needing the motor, and so it's cheaper. The funny thing about this one is, you can see it has pulleys here, which would have been for the take up and rewind. But someone decided to forego that and put on 2 motors. Put on 2 motors onto this thing, completely defeating its reason to exist. Although this could be done later. I think it might have been, but there's no way of knowing for certain. Although, yeah, I don't think that would have been done originally. That's a bit ridiculous. But who knows? Anyway, so it's a completely ridiculous device. I haven't tested it yet because I don't have any reel-to-reel tapes that I want to risk erasing, because who knows if this thing works, and who knows if I can work it, because again, nothing's labelled on this thing. However, there is a key. On the lid are penciled in some somewhat helpful instructions on how to use part of the unit, the main sort of chassis part of it, and the switch for the reel-to-reel, and how to throw the tape, which is good because figuring that out would have been quite difficult. So it labels some of the controls, but not all of them, so some of them are a complete mystery. Anyway, let's power it up and see what's going on currently. Okay, I've turned on the power, and I think it just turns on. I think there's not really an on-off switch. Although, again, there's this big array of switches, and these are unlabeled. I don't have any label for these. I've had to sort of guess them. And these ones, let's see again on the chart. You can hear it's powering up. This is the recording level. volume. This is for, that's reel to reel. Oh, there you go. That's playback, that's unmarked, and that's for the record player, mic, and radio. So that's helpful. That's most things. This is the volume, and this is tone. Now we've got some hum. And actually, let's see which one turns on the radio. Oh, and this knob is a switch as well, and it's come loose, unfortunately. So I can't. Ooh, it's probably yanking on some wires now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that because that was working before. Anyway, let's see if I can figure this thing out. But if we flip it up and we turn it on. The other thing, this thing is awful to turn on. Oh no! Oh, it was already on. There we go. And it turns. Sort of. Nope. Let's change it. Ooh, see? There we go. And it's very noisy. Now, some of that sounds like it might be due to a hardened idler wheel, but... And if I put a record on, we can hear what it sounds like, if I can remember what controls make sound actually come out of this unit. Here we go. There you go. So this knob turns on the sound. And it sounds pretty terrible. So there you go. It does work. It doesn't sound very good. Now, some of that will be just stylus is probably worn out, and the cartridge is one of the old ones. Honestly, I'm surprised it works. It's one of the very few mono cartridges I've got that still works. Most are completely dead. But yeah. It definitely needs a service. It makes some horrible sounds. Hopefully the idler is still serviceable because I don't have any spares, but we'll figure that out. Oh, and the radio. This is the tuning here for the radio. And that's not working very well. Here you go, there's the radio, and you can see the ammeter bouncing about there. See, the radio works fine. Oh, I think this actually turns the radio unit on, so it's a completely separate unit, and that's why it has to warm up, because this is all valve. Anyway, that's enough of that. And I have no idea what this little switch at the bottom does. It does something. What? Who knows? It has to do with the microphone or something else to do with the... Again, this thing's a mystery. There's no information on it available. Anyway, time to take the top off and we'll work on this turntable. I'm just taping the tone arm so it doesn't flop about and break. And now, since all the screws are removed, this should just lift out. I'll try and move things over. Now that I don't have the handle, there, move that over and just sort of pick it up from the rod here, and there's not really anything else to pick it up from. Oh, here we go. Oh. Oh well, I won't be able to show this, but there's wires everywhere. Oh, I can show it now. There you go. And something's been written here. Oh, it's making creaking sounds. I'm going to grab it by its big unit, so there we go. That'll keep it from making horrible cracking sounds, hopefully. Rewind, okay. I think that's what that says. Maybe that means something else. I have no idea what the other stuff says. Needs something, maybe? Needs something. It needs something. I don't know what that says. Take up. Total resistance. 710 ohms. Is that for the motor? That must be for the motors. And yeah, they are. They're very similar to the turntable motors. Interesting, eh? Anyway, I need to get the turntable out. And there's some screws here. 3 screws, so I'll undo those. I can lift the turntable mechanism out. I should have just pulled off that thing. Actually, I think I can just pull off all these wires too, because there's a light bulb style socket here. I don't know about this one. Oh, that's socketed too. Okay, it's all socketed, perfect. Okay, here's the connections. So the antenna connects here, so I'll just undo that. There we go. That's one released. We've got the power, just plugs in there. I think that's the power. Yeah, let's just say that looks like one of the power cords at least. So there, that's that on. Oh, actually no, that's not power. That's the audio signal for the tape. One of those plugs. I need some more of these. That's the audio signal, I think. And then, oh, never mind. This is all useless because the turntable's audio out is just soldered in. So thanks whoever built this. Anyway, best to undo what I can. There we go. And that's just a light bulb socket, so that's the power for the turntable at least. Oh, it goes to the reel-to-reel motors as well. And it's just a bayonet light fitting socket. The superior socket. I'm going to keep saying that. It'll be annoying people. Anyway. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. I'm not oh, I know what I'll do. This thing's loose anyway, so it's coming off. Okay, that doesn't completely free it up. I've still got cable to deal with, but it does give me a little bit more wire, so I can get this. So I've got as much distance. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh well, that shouldn't cause any damage, unless it hits something else. Well, now we can have a better look at the chassis, and you can see this one is screwed in here. So that's how it stays, whereas this one, it does need to be attached somewhere because it doesn't slide, but it does bounce. And I've spotted something interesting here. Paper with writing on it. Now, if I can get it out, because it seems to have come unstuck, that is if it was ever stuck to anything. It looks like it was. But, it's got some dates on it. It's got a date. From Well, here you go, there's some dates there. I suppose this might have been when there was a service. And if you wonder about the weird cut, the battery died on this stupid camera. And it's been a few hours now, waiting for the thing to charge. Yesterday it said it had 100%. And then it just decides no. Oh well. And I think that looks like that's been replaced, so I wonder if that was when it was last serviced or something. Because I don't think this was made in 1992. But who knows? And this main chassis actually is secured just by screws only at the back. So that's interesting. I'm going to put this paper back where I found it, because I'm not pulling the chassis out. I suppose I have got the fuel capacitors, but they don't look broken, and the thing so far works. I did snap this thing off though. Well, a wire here. Oh, it's not gonna... Go on. There. This here. There's this weird clear thing. Looks like someone poured hot glue all over it. Well, that probably is the insulation. Yeah. Well, that snapped because this has been loose. So I'm going to just solder it back on. That's all I'm going to do. You know, what else was I going to do? Anyway, we've got the unit here that needs some servicing. So I'm just going to unscrew the turntable from the board so I can actually get... Actually, I'm not going to do that. That's going to be more work than I need to do. I'm going to leave it in there for now, and I'm just going to remove the turntable. So the first thing I'm going to do is just remove this little retaining screw which holds the turntable in. I probably don't need to unscrew it all the way, but that should be enough. And then I should just be able to lift the turntable out. It turns out the circlip on the other side that holds just holds the turntable to the spindle, and they're attached to each other. Now the question is, can I get to the turntable easily? I might be able to use this as a sort of bracket, and then... Oh, here we go. Well, it's sliding off. You can't really see it because the reel-to-reel attachment's in the way. But there we go. And there, that comes off. Grease looks sort of brown, but it works fine. Maybe it's probably, that's the colour of the grease. Anyway. Oh, I can't put that on like that now, so let's see if I can just sort of have that like that. There we go. Just there until I... Rather tricky to find a way to place this without crushing something. Okay, well, I've got the thing up. I've managed to get the turntable and the motor board and all that in a way that it's not tipping over. And I think I figured out the issue. Everything's perfectly fine. It spins well. Everything sort of moves all right. The only issue, well, the only two issues are that this is out of alignment. Actually, let's see. That the idler wheel is not very well aligned to the spindle, and that it's rather slick, so it could do with some roughening up. But it's still rubbery. Okay, it's a little harder than it probably was originally, but yeah, for some reason this is not... I'm thinking it might have to do with the mounts, but they look in good condition. While feeling a little hard as well, they're all right. It doesn't move that much higher up. So I don't know what's going on here. Unless there's something severe. No, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, actually, I think rather than adjust this spindle, I think I'll adjust the idler wheel's height, because the motor spindle, you can see, is already quite high. Moving the camera is so difficult. There we go. If you can see, the motor's spindle is below the top of the stepped spindle already, and I've noticed there's a screw on the idler wheel, so I think I'll adjust that. But first, I'll just roughen it up. And there's no need to oil it or anything. It moves nice and smoothly. So yeah, maybe that'll solve the problem. It's a funny unit, isn't it? 3-in-1. Just the weirdest 3-in-1 ever. I have seen sort of reel-to-reel record player radios that are portable, but they actually are sort of portable and make some sort of sense. They're consumer ones though. Whereas this, I don't know what it was made for. Definitely not consumer because there's no labels on any controls or anything. But yeah, it's weird. I have no idea what its original use was for. But this unit is actually this is the unit I bought that the guy selling it gave me the Discotron, which that's my first video, the one about the Discotron. So this is part of the story for that video. Yeah, for that first video was me getting this, and he said, "Oh, would you like this Discotron thing as well? This portable record player thing?" Yeah, so he gave it to me, and then I got really curious about it. But yeah, you can see I've taken quite a bit of rubber off, and well, there's more grip than there was before. I should probably start roughing it up sideways so it's not just putting lines. You have to be careful not to deform it or anything. But I think what will really make an impact is actually having it having it aligned with the spindle. Well, I've been looking at the mechanism. I've roughed up the idler wheel a bit, and I've noticed that actually I can't lower the idler wheel. This is as low as it'll go, so I will have to raise the stepped spindle. Also, another thing I noticed is that this is an interesting thing. Changing speeds on this, you should do it when it's running, because it's got a little a little track thing that knocks the idler wheel down, whereas if you change speeds when it's off, the idler wheel will just, as you can see, when I go down, it gets stuck on the lips. When it's running, it'll get pushed off. So, yeah, I always thought that with all I thought the idea was that turntables you change speeds while it's off. I think that's what you're told with reel-to-reels, and I thought it was the same with all record players as well. But it turns out with this one at least, I think with other ones you should change the speed when it's off. But with this one, you should change it while it's running, because otherwise it'll try and bend the idler wheel and knock a chunk out of it. What a weird design. Well, I suppose it means you don't have to have the spring the way it goes like that. It just does it. Anyway, time to adjust this. Let's see. I have retrieved some smaller screwdrivers, and this one looks like it'll fit. And actually, I'm just going to pull it off and give it a clean, because you can see it's got this big black mark. Come on. There. It's got this big black mark on it, so I'll just clean that off first. So I've cleaned the mark off. I do wonder if it was some remnant of rubber that had come off the idler wheel. You know, having melted off when it was stored away at some point. Okay. Yep, that's at 78. Set it to the right height. Tighten the screw. Funny, that was the problem the whole time. The poorly set, or maybe something. Maybe the rubbers have gone down a bit, but not noticeably. And if you're wondering how the rubber's going with my other one, the only ones I could find, I got them and they're a little too small, so I'm going to have to make more rubber washer things to pack it out. So yeah, the other turntable will eventually get fixed. It's quite annoying, but oh well, not much that can be done about it. Anyway, there we go. That was much quicker than I thought. Well, we'll see if that actually fixes it, or if if it does need a proper service. But I think that should be all right. A nice thing I've noticed is whoever's been in here at some point has put little labels on masking tape of what all the different wires are, which is nice. Yeah, signal from radio and black post. There's speaker leads. There's to radio tuner chassis, all that sort of thing. So I think that's probably from when the sticker was. Yeah, that sticker's from as well, because they're in ballpoint. But yeah, now it's up to the soldering, and this isn't the ideal sort of location and setup for soldering, but I'm going to attempt it anyway, and we shall see. I'm terrible at soldering, but again, let's see what happens. There's just one connection. I may have to give up on trying to film this because this is going to be so tricky to do, especially when the camera is exactly where I want to be. And these wires are just not the right length. But yeah, we'll see. Yep. The iron is hot. That's the idea. I'm just going to tack it on. At least that's my aim, to just sort of tack it on, because, well, I don't want to destroy any more of this wire because there's barely enough already. Yep, the camera is exactly. Actually, let's see if I can tin the lead. It's all very twisted and annoying. Oh, there's still a bit of plastic on it. Oh well, not anymore. Anyway, sorry if you can't see much. This is not fun. Well, I broke the connection, had to resolder it again, and it turned out a lot better this time. I did put it through the hole. I managed to poke out the extra solder, and yeah, I'm much happier now. And besides, I can't put this in until I put the thing closer because the cord's not long enough. Now it's time to fit the cables. Let's see how that goes. Got a little mirror here to help guide me. There we go. That one. I've managed to get this all. There we go. It's all balanced. And we've just got the power cord. Don't know. That should be. That's fine either way. The radio aerial. Clips in like that. And it's just the plug, so we'll fit that in now. I would probably be better off with a socket set. The paint's going to flake off. Oh well. You know what, I will get a socket set. Well, joke's on me, the socket set doesn't reach far down enough to get around the knob, so I was going to say I have to make do, but I don't seem to be even able to do that. Maybe that's why it was loose. Well, that fits pretty good. It's better than it was before, so hopefully that'll stay fine. And just put it together and we'll see if it still works or if I've broken it irreparably. Okay, I've plugged the unit in, and let's see what happens. I haven't screwed this down yet. I haven't screwed the motor board down yet because I expect something to go horribly wrong, or just slightly wrong. Oh, okay. Yep, Okay. I think I have to turn that on for audio to come through. Or maybe I don't. I think that was just for the radio. Anyway, let's see what happens. I've got my record. Oh. It's still rumbly. I'm not sure there's much that can be done. I think that was...
Think they're mighty wise, just because they know a thing or two. You can see them every day, strolling up and down Broadway, telling all the wonders that they knew. There's wise giant roosters, night chops and crap shoes. They come to great up land from men from home. There were flashy toys and colors, but where they get their dollars, they've all got an ain't down in the hole. As some of them are to the old.
But yeah, I've just been messing with these controls. See, that's sort of the... I don't know. That's sort of like when with a cassette deck when you adjust the sort of the input, really. So that's the input into the amp, and then this is the out. This is the speaker control. So I can crank this all the way down, but have that way too much. I can get that. Yeah. But yeah, there you go. So it is working. It's still very noisy, so maybe it does need a proper service. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I completely forgot that it sounded like that. So maybe I'll give it some oil and all that. Oh well, that means back into bits. Should just do it right once as opposed to messing around with it many times. I like this one. That's the radio. For some reason, this also controls the record player. I don't know why. Because this controls the radio. I don't know why you need two. I don't know why you need two sort of input controls, but oh well. Anyway, let's see if it stops. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure the rumbliness can really be fixed. I think that's because the rubber is just hardened on everything. Turn that down. But yeah, I think it's just the rubber going hard. So I'm not sure there actually is much I can do about that. Because again, it turns fine. Oh. No, something does need fixing. So I should have tested it a bit better, although I wonder if that's just bad grip. Yeah, something's rumbly, so maybe it does need oiling after all. I should have checked this. Oh well, this is about right for my repair attempts. So back apart it goes. So I tried the do as little as possible approach. Now it's time to oil everything. Well, not everything. Only the things that actually need it. But yeah, close enough. Well, I've got it out, and I'm surprised I didn't snap the other end off this wire, which is the one I just soldered, because it got caught on this cable and pulled very tight. But it's fine, and at first I'm going to put some electrical tape on that, because these can brush next to each other. I don't think that would cause any problem. I think they seem to both lead to the same place, but still, it might cause noise and all that. And I just want a reason to use this hideous yellow electrical tape. Well, I don't find it hideous. I think it's very good. There we go. And I didn't even put it smoothly, so now it doesn't. That's going to annoy me. It needs to line up. Otherwise, it'll look bad in 150 years or whenever someone next opens it. But there we go. That's much neater. So now, what was the problem again? Oh yes, I wanted to get the motor. First, I want to sort out the idler wheel. I'm just going to put oil on it. I don't think it needs cleaning. It's all, well, I may as well remove it anyway. It's going to be very hard to show because I can't turn it because of the wires. Well, I removed the idler wheel and there's a C-clip and yeah, one washer above, two below. The idler wheel looks a bit odd from underneath. And yeah, it's still slick, so I'm going to give it another sand. Clumsy me. Yeah. I'll just give it a sand, try and roughen up a bit more and maybe get something that's a little... It still feels a bit soft, but still... Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. And just, I think, as it turns out, I think I will give it a clean, the spindle and all that, because while the turntable's all good, the turntable bearing is all perfect, the grease is all fine there, so I'm going to leave that. This can do with a bit of oiling, and the mechanism seems fine, but I might do it properly too. Just, you know, I should just do things properly for once. Well, sort of properly anyway. Okay, so unscrewed the motor. I'll need to get that screwed. There we go. And get around this tangle of wires. There we go. Now it's time to service the motor. Because I think it... Yeah, you know what, might as well do it. And that's that open. There we go. Oh, and I'm going to have to take off the spindle that I so carefully adjusted. Oh well, I'll just adjust it again. Need the small screwdriver, and then we just unscrew that. There's the stepped spindles off. Now, I do like this design. You can see it'll adjust, or at least I hope it does. I haven't just screwed it all up, but there. And I'll give this all a clean. It looks pretty good, but it can be better. So, and there you go. And this should just... Oh, that's not going to come off. Oh well, I'll just leave it on then. Oh. Is that paint? Or rust? I honestly can't tell. It doesn't look like rust, it looks like paint. It's rust-coloured paint, I think. I don't know. Oh, I hope it isn't that important. Anyway, I'll clean it up. Ah, the ground bit turns out to be useful after all. Helps me align this the right way. Okay, the first thing to do is to apply some grease to the shaft, and I need to put a bit on the weird idler slider thing. Don't know how this will work, but we shall see. It's a strange little arrangement, isn't it? Unfortunately, you can't open it up, so I haven't given it the best of cleans. Some there. Don't want any there because that's where the idler will be. Okay, I just slipped on a washer that I completely forgot about, and now I put this onto the top of the unit, well, the mechanism. Okay, I'll put some oil on the idler wheel, well, the inside, and I'll mount that. Sorry I'm not showing the fitting process, it's rather fiddly because of this arrangement, and the camera battery's dying again somehow, so just charge the thing. Oh well. One more thing before I close it up, I need to sort out this little knob switch thing, because of course it came loose again. I finally found a socket set that might just fit. Oh great, it did before. There we go. No. Why does everything have to be the wrong size? Really, what sort of... I've had this before. Well, now it pretends to fit. Okay, the moment of truth. Will it work better, or will it be the same as it was before? Probably the same as it was before. But let's find out. Yep. I think it's hardened rubber. Oh well. A somewhat disappointing but not not very surprising result. I suppose I'll get a record again and we can test it out. Okay, here we go. I don't know why this has got a slot in it in the spindle. Anyway. Oh yeah. Sounds surprisingly good considering all that annoying noise. But yeah, it works alright. Oh yeah, I can turn it down from here. Because again, this thing has multiple volume controls for some unknown reason. I'm surprised that solder joint held up, considering all the strain I put on. Oh, and I did tighten this up eventually with a shift spanner. Yeah, the socket set was nonsense, it just wouldn't fit. I don't know, why do I always get equipment where the sockets just, you know, where those nuts never fit anything? Really, what were they using? Some sort of Babylonian measurements? I don't know. But that's good enough. If you turn it loud enough, you don't hear any of the noise from the turntable, and it sounds surprisingly alright. So yeah, the solution is just turn the volume louder. So yeah, that's what I do with everything that's noisy. Anyway, it turns off. Good. Oh, and this thing, well, of course it spins. You know what, let's have a look at it. I'm not going to play a tape on it because I don't have any, again, that I would want to risk. But here are the tape heads. You know what, I will turn that off. And you can have a look at the tape heads there. Magnetic recording equipment of, what is that, LB Products or something. But there you go. An interesting device, and maybe if I get a blank tape that I, you know, or some tape that's something I don't mind erasing by accident or something, then I'll be able to test that out. Because those heads, I don't know, they might work, they might not, who knows. This thing seems to be in good shape for the most part, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do work. After all, this is one of the few crystal cartridges I have that still work. Again, the only, so far, that I've tested, the only crystal cartridges I've got that still work are on these BSR GU4 units. All the others, dead. Although I have got, I think, 2 that I haven't tested yet. Yeah, 2 units that I haven't tested that have crystal cartridges. That maybe they do work, but who knows. But there you go. Weird unit, and I need to figure out how to finish this video somehow. So, bye. Oh, I said bye, but that wasn't actually bye, because the funny thing is, I might now end up using this as my main record player in my room, because this is one of the few that I have that is now properly working. Yeah, both electronically and mechanically now. Well, this is close enough anyway. So yeah, this is now my main unit, this thing. Oh, still nerve-wracking seeing that thing just balancing there. There must be a way to lock it in place that's less terrifying. That's more secure. Anyway, this time actually bye.